Her Standards with me, Queen Tambori. Thank you so very much for joining us yet again for our month-long series on creating awareness around breast cancer. Remember, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we have been focusing on quite a number of issues. On today's episode, it's all about lifestyle, specifically nutrition. And our guests that we have on the show for today are raring to give us more information around that. Now, what better place to have this conversation than Azure Airport Hotel here at the Signature Mall. But first, allow me to introduce to you our chef for the day, because today it's all about action and eating. Hi. How are you doing, Jennifer?
I'm fine, thank you.
How are you feeling?
I'm good and happy.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell us who you are, what do you do at Azure Airport Hotel?
Okay, my name is Jennifer Wambua. I work at Azure Airport Hotel, Signature Mall. I'm a chef for like now 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
How's
And
that?
mostly I'm based in Italian. But as a chef, you must practice to work at every department.
Very nice.
Yeah. So
Today, yes, tell us more about what you want to prepare for us today.
Today I'll be preparing red snapper, served with Greek salad and tartar sauce.
Any
Yeah.
drinks?
Yeah, today I'll make beetroot and orange. Yeah.
Okay, now Jennifer, as a chef, what is the one thing that you have to take into consideration when you're making food for your clients?
You should always consider about balanced diet
Okay,
and everything that you're going to prepare.
very well said. Now, be sure to look for Jennifer when you come to the Azure Airport Hotel, and also at least get a taste of the food that she's making. Lucky for me and my guests, at the end of the show, we are going to enjoy some delicacies courtesy of Jennifer Wambua. Now, I need to join my guests on the other side to discuss more on the topic of today, which is none other than nutrition. Remember, cancer doesn't have to be a death sentence. How are you?
Fine.
It is so good to have you on Her Standards today. Thank you for joining us. This is our special month-long series. We are doing something around breast cancer. And we're celebrating cancer heroes, cancer champions, just like you guys today. So how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great.
Yes. All right. Kefa, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
All right. Now, before we start the show, kindly tell us who you are. I think that is very important. Let me start with you, Eva. Tell us who you are, what you do, and what comes to mind when we talk about Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and then we can come to you, Kefa.
My name is Eva Alela,
Yeah.
pharmacist by profession. So when I think of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, what comes to mind is screening, self-examination, early detection, early diagnosis, and the end of it all, a life saved.
Wow, that is so precise, short and sweet, and probably we'll get back to Eva before long to talk more about her story. She's actually, what she didn't tell us, and I was hoping she was going to tell us, that she's a breast cancer survivor. And we cannot wait to hear your story. Kefa,
Yes.
karibu sana.
Thank you.
You're the only gentleman in the room. Unasikiaje?
Is that your face good?
It feels good.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell us who you are.
My name is Nyanumba Kefa, consultant nutritionist. I'm based at Apail KMS Center.
Yeah.
I work with a number of insurance companies as a nutrition service provider. And today's topic is actually very exciting.
Yeah.
And nowadays when you talk about cancer,
Yeah.
people get scared. But we need to understand that this is actually a condition that we can control.
It can be managed.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Thank
What
you.
does a nutritionist do?
Now, my work as a nutritionist actually entails addressing the lifestyle component in disease management. In fact, what I usually do is to make sure that I address the root cause of disease conditions, which is actually like the fire instead of the smoke.
Okay, very interesting. I think this is this is a conversation that I cannot wait to have, because just like our nutritionist of the day has said, is you need to address the root cause. You don't need to address the fire. You don't need, address the fire, don't address the smoke, and we'll get to understand more about the fire and the smoke. But first things first, we have Eva with us today. Eva is, as I had said earlier, she is a breast cancer survivor. So I'm just going to allow her to tell us her story. Eva, the floor is all yours now.
Thank you, Queen.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So my story with breast cancer.
Yeah. When were you diagnosed?
Okay.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed. Confirmed diagnosis was last year, 2020, in May, and this was after a series of tests. So it started one day when I was just taking my normal shower, and I felt a lump, and it was strange because I didn't feel it yesterday or the day before, and it felt pretty big. And I thought, okay, this needs to be checked. So I walked into Aga Khan Hospital one afternoon and booked an appointment at the breast clinic. Then I saw a breast surgeon, and she said, doesn't feel so big, so, you know, it must be in early stage, but, you know, we will investigate more and see how it's going.
Was it diagnosed outrightly from the get-go that it was cancerous, or they had to do other tests?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't, because women get lumps in their breasts every other, you know, time, and most of them are not cancerous. So there's always that hope that whatever lump you have is not cancerous, and that is the hope that I was holding on to.
Yeah. So
she took my family history, which happens to have a little bit of cancer in the background. So she said, with this history, there is a little bit of a high risk that you may have it, but, you know, we'll just check.
So Eva, when you talk about cancer being in your family, what exactly do you mean? Sorry, I cut you short.
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah.
I think the first, my dad had cancer of the liver. Unfortunately, he's no more.
Oh, sorry.
Then my first cousin from my father's side, actually two have had breast cancer that I know of. And my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, it is said that you know, she had a breast condition. So with that, my paternal uncle also had breast cancer.
Uncle?
Yes, uncle. So even men get breast cancer. That should be a story for another day.
Definitely story for another day.
So with that already, you know, there's a little bit of a high risk. So the first tests I was sent for was a mammogram and an ultrasound. So when I came back, she said that the ultrasound results said that the mass looks suspicious. And she explained to me how a non-suspicious mass would be and why this one is suspicious. They said now the next step would be to do a biopsy. So this would mean to take out a little bit of tissue from the tumor and analyze it and see what kind of cells or what's going on in the tumor.
Yeah.
So the samples were taken, and it was a long time before I got those results because my doctor was unwell, so she was away for a little bit of an extended period of time. And in between that, you know, I think I just went on with my normal life until when she came back. That would be about 3 weeks or so after the samples were taken. And so that day, you know, she was always a very jovial and calm and relaxed person. That day, for some reason, I don't know, she just wasn't...
She wasn't herself.
She wasn't herself. So I asked her if I could have someone come with me into the room. She said, yeah, it's okay. Just call him. I'm going to get something. So she left me in the room. I called my partner who came and sat with me. So when she came in, she logged in and told me to come and sit here next to me. So that is how, you know, all the results, that is how we would do it. She would call me, sit next to her, and then she explains everything, the screen, and shows me this is this and this is that. So she said it is cancerous.
And what did you feel?
I just became numb. I didn't know what to think or what to say. So I just sat there and I looked at her, and then she said, you know, it's early stage, so you know this will manage it. And so she went on. She was talking, and I wasn't listening because and I can't say what was running through my mind at the time. And then she asked me, "So, you have any question?" Then I told her, "Not really, but I think something will come up." Then she told me, "It's okay. You know, this is it's shocking. It's a lot of information, and just take your time. You know, you can call me, and you can ask me anytime. You know, it's even okay to cry, and to." So when she said that, I broke down. And she came, she held me, and my partner also held me. They just let me have my moment. And you know, when I was done, she reassured me and told me, "Don't worry, we'll take care of you." So the next steps was to check, you know, it was, so she was going to check if it had spread to the lungs and I think bones as well. So she sent me for more tests and said, you know, we just need to know how far this has gone before we you know, put you on a treatment program. So all those tests were done. Fortunately, it was just confined to the breast, no spread even to the lymph nodes. So between that time and, you know, all this time doing all these tests and planning, every time I would sit and hope for a call from the hospital telling me there was a mistake with your results. You know, you don't have cancer, you know, I always hoped for such a phone call anyway. The phone call never came. Yeah. So I went for, so my treatment plan was surgery, then chemo, and then radiation therapy. So I went for surgery, and the surgery that was done is what they call breast conservation and lymph node dissection. So they just removed the lump alone and some healthy tissue around it, just to ensure that, you know, it's all gone with its neighbors. And the lymph nodes as well, they would take a few lymph nodes to check if the cancer may have spread to the lymph nodes. And even after that, they came out negative. So I recovered from the surgery. It was uneventful, I should say, just apart from the first week where I had a drain that I had to empty every day and measure the amount of fluid that comes from. Then a week later, I went in and she removed it. So the wound recovered very well. And then, so I was now, she handed me over to the medical oncologist who now put me on the plan for chemotherapy. And I remember the first time when I went to the clinic, I had some locks. And she asked me, she explained to me all the side effects, you know, what to expect. Your hair will fall off, you know, your skin may turn dark, you will feel, you know, you may get sores in your mouth, you'll get tired, and, you know, she told me all this. And then she asked me, what are you planning to do with your hair? I told her, I don't know, I think I'll just let the braids fall off. She's like, I don't think you want that. Just, you know, consider, you know, removing them.
Haircut, chopping them off.
Yes. So I was like, okay, I'll think about it. So I went for my first chemo, and well, it was. I just sat there, and you know.
What were you expecting when you were going through the process?
I don't know. I just went there blank, you know, or I thought that, you know, maybe when the drug enters my body, I'll feel some sort of thing. Well, I didn't. It was uneventful, I would say. But I slept a lot during the chemo. I was on 2 drugs at the time. So what they do, they give pre-meds in the beginning just to deal with the side effects. And then they gave me the first drug, and then some flash the line, and then give me the second drug, then flash it, and then I go home. So I would spend about 3 to 4 hours at the clinic. So after the first chemo, when I went home, you know, I think everybody expected me to be, you know, sick. My sister was at home, you know, she was there waiting for me. Everybody
was waiting to receive.
When I got home, I had so much energy from I don't know where. I cleaned the kitchen, I cleaned the fridge.
After the chemo?
After the chemo.
That is not the story that we hear.
So in fact, my sister was looking at me like she thought there was something there was something wrong with me. Anyway, I did that. We had dinner and I slept. So I'd been told that usually the side effects kick in around the third day.
Yeah.
So the first day, second day, I was more or less normal.
Yeah.
So from the third day, I started having sores in my mouth, and I had this strange headache at the back of my head, and I was just tired. I was weak. I had a metallic taste in my mouth. I expected them anyway because I'd been told.
You'd been
So, but then now it was not so easy to eat because I have sores in the mouth and the metallic taste. So, I was just told, just eat anything that the mouth can tolerate, or you can tolerate, because you just need to eat. Don't start choosing food and saying, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. What you can put in, just, So after the first chemo, I had it on a Wednesday. So Saturday, I got somebody to come in and remove the braids. Yeah, and I just combed my hair and put a matuta one. So I stayed with it. Then I think after about 3 days, I decided to, let me comb my hair.
Yeah.
So I took a comb, and when I combed my hair came out. And I was like, okay, this is it.
What's happening?
Yeah. So I called my partner and I told him, gosh, look at my hair. So I was just combing and doing this and plucking chunks of hair. Then he asked me, so what do you want to do? I told him I'll just go to the barber and have it shaved. So I went, I just walked into a salon and I said, I need to shave my hair. Then the guy's like, okay. So I went and he shaved all of it. Actually, when he came, he found me
already plucking.
And he's like, what's happening to your hair? I told him I'm on treatment for cancer. It's like, oh, sorry, But well, he shaved my hair. I had a wig, so I went back home in the wig. So between after the first time when I got the news that I have cancer, I cried. When I was talking to my mother, telling her it's cancer, I cried. So I hadn't cried any other time there. So when I got home and I looked at myself in the mirror, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my goodness, I have cancer. And I didn't know I loved my hair so much, or it meant so much to me. Yeah. But that was it, and I was like, so I always had a hat in the house or a scarf. Even at night, I would sleep in it because I was like, this isn't it. Anyway, I continued dealing with it. So I went for, my second chemo. Yeah. And so with every visit, we talk about what I've been going through. So this time I even got some medicine for the mouth sores. And, they always would check. And then we're told, we're given a number that you can call anytime.
In case you feel
anything. What we're told to watch out most for was a fever. Okay. So if you have fever, go to hospital immediately. In fact, we're given a letter that you can check into any hospital with that letter that says this patient is on chemo, so they would know what to do. And that would be caused by when chemo, chemo attacks rapidly multiplying cells. Yeah. It's meant to target the cancer cells, but it targets all everywhere. So white blood cells. So it would mean that, I have no white blood cells and I'm at risk of getting infections. So fortunately, throughout my chemo, all the 8 treatments, I never had to
check into a hospital.
Yes.
Were you carrying on with work? Like,
yes,
did you stop going to work?
No, I didn't stop going to work, and I was working from home. It was the COVID season because everybody was working from home. So I was able to do my meetings. I would even take some meetings while I was going through chemo, just log in and do the meeting and log out and have my nap. So I pretty much did mostly what I could do. And I had targeted my treatments to be on Wednesday because I'd been told you get sicker from the third day. So I would be sick over the weekend. So most of the times Monday I would be able to get back to work and carry on with my things.
Before we talk about the next, what happened next, and I believe this is probably the radiotherapy, just allow me to rope in Kefa, because a lot of people actually, I have read, and of course patients that I've interacted with have also said that the causes of cancer, some of them include the genetic factor. some specialists even bring out the lifestyle issue. Now from you, and of course other cases it is said that it is not even known. Now from your practice, before we get back to Eva's story, what do you think is the reason why we have this thing called cancer in the world?
As I said, of course, when you talk about cancer, everybody gets scared.
Yes.
And that is why we need to ask ourselves a very important question, which is, why are we getting cancer? Very important. Of course, as you said, there are so many factors that are actually out of our control. But a number of studies have actually shown that our lifestyle, which is one of the factors that we can actually control, actually plays a key role when it comes to cancer. I attend a number of patients, and I've done that for the last like 14 years. And when patients come to see us, first and foremost, the most important thing they need is hope before nutrition intervention. And there are a number of adjustments that they need to make in terms of their lifestyle. And when we talk about lifestyle, we don't just focus on what you're eating. Of course, your diet is number one. Of course, the other factors like exercise, very important. Stress management, very important. And of course, rest. Now, rest is also very important. Most people don't know that.
What is
because
allow me to interject.
Yes.
How much time should we dedicate to rest? Talking about
now,
rest,
unfortunately, what is in the books is average, which is 6 to 8, which most of us don't even get. The exact number of hours we need to sleep at night actually depends on our body weight. The more the weight, the more the number of hours we need. Unfortunately, some of us don't get enough rest, because most people think that sleeping is a luxury. It's a necessity, not a luxury. And we need to understand why we need rest. There's so many functions of sleep. For example, when we are sleeping at night, our body, builds muscles. And muscles are very important when it comes to our metabolism rate, which is the rate at which which is actually the rate at which our body is actually functioning. Very important. At night, the body renews the cells. That also plays a key role when it comes to our metabolism rate. I talked of exercise as one of the components of our lifestyle. Of course, if you don't get enough rest at night, what happens is the next day you are very tired. So yes, you might know that you're supposed to exercise, but at times knowing what you're supposed to do and doing it are two separate things.
Two different things. We belong in that WhatsApp group, yes.
Yes, so that is why we need to prioritize rest. But talking about rest, it's not just enough for us to consider the quantity of the rest, but the quality as well. I'm saying this because there are some of us, for example, go to bed at 9 or 10, and sleep comes at around 3 a.m. for 30 minutes, 1 hour, disappears again. And when that happens, of course, we need to ask ourselves, why is that happening?
Why?
Yes,
I think
why?
During my interaction with Kefa earlier on, he keeps insisting on why. Why is it happening? So maybe you can tell us more about that. Now,
there are so many reasons as to why, why we could actually have poor quality sleep. One of them is using our gadgets like the phones or the laptops before we go to bed. They actually make our body to produce some hormones that are not good at night, like cortisol. Sometimes we can actually lack sleep because of excessive intake of caffeinated drinks. So caffeine, there are people addicted to coffee. And what I usually tell people is addiction simply means your body is trying to cry for certain nutrients, and that's something we can actually address. So those are some of the few, reasons as why people get quality, why people lack quality rest. At times it's because of the way we apply information from the books. For example, there are people who read that you're supposed to increase exercise, as I said, but they don't know when to do it. So some of us take dinner, after that we are actually doing or engaging in vigorous forms of exercise. That can also affect sleep. So there are so many factors that can actually contribute to that. But we're able to address it when patients come to see us. Yes.
So you're able to even see cancer patients?
Yes, we shall attend a number of them with different types of cancers.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, we would like to take a short break to sort out some bills. Remember, we are in the month of October, where we are creating awareness around breast cancer, early screening, early testing, and of course, that leads to better management and even treatment of this dreaded disease. You have a comment for us, you have a question for us, talk to us at KTN Home, or you can also hit me up at Quintambori on Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter. Do not go away. We are glad you could join us for the second part of this episode of Her Standards. We are coming to you from Azure Airport Hotel at the Signature Mall. Today we are talking about breast cancer and nutrition. How do we alter our lifestyle in order to manage our lives better? I'm joined by two amazing panelists. I'm talking about Eva, who, by the way, is a breast cancer survivor, and also we have a panelist, we have Kefa here, a nutritionist, who is breaking down for us into manageable bits the kind of food, and not just food, the lifestyle that we need to lead in order to remain healthy. Thank you guys for joining me again. Eva, now you can tell us more about the treatment process. How did it affect you in terms of your productivity and even your lifestyle in general?
So in terms of productivity, the one thing that chemo does to you is fatigue. So I would usually take breaks during the day just to take a nap. And in terms of lifestyle, the one thing that cancer does is it keeps you awake at night, because you start thinking of the worst case scenario, the best case scenario. You know, you stay up thinking all sorts of things. And that's when, so you lose, I lost sleep. I had insomnia. And that's when I would pick my phone and start Googling the prognosis of breast cancer stage 2. What percentage survive? Or you start Googling side effects, you know, okay, I'm feeling this. And yeah, so that affected me quite a bit, because of course I don't sleep well at night, and then I will not be very productive during the day. The other thing that the chemo did was it put my body, or it normally puts women's bodies into menopause. They call it chemopause. Yeah. So the menses stop, and then you start getting the symptoms of menopause. That would be hot flashes. So at night it was not easy to sleep.
Chaotic.
It was chaotic because the flash just comes. It's literally a flash.
Oh.
1 minute I'm just sitting there cool, lying in bed. The next minute it's like heat has been poured on me and I'm sweating, and you know, so that was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry that you had to go through that. You know,
well,
in Kefa, what is probably some of the best? How can survivors, people who are going through treatment, advanced treatment like chemotherapy that affects the body in ways that Eva has mentioned, what is it that they can do just to try and manage life and live normal life? Are there specific foods that they need to eat? Are there specific exercises that they are supposed to take? What do you think we need to do?
Now, when they come to see us, the first thing we actually want to do is to make sure that we actually assist them to make sure that their weight is actually within the recommended range. We know that obesity actually complicates any disease condition. And the number of ways we use to know if their weight is actually within the recommended range or not. For example, we check the BMI, the body mass index. We check their waist circumference. We also do what you call the body composition analysis, whereby we're able to know the body fat percentage, the muscle percentage, the body water, etc. Of course, after that, I need to understand their dietary history. And with that information, I'm able to prescribe a meal plan for them that addresses the specific nutrients that they need. For example, they need very important nutrients like omega-3 that are actually known to reduce what you call inflammation.
Where do we find omega-3?
Yeah.
And in a layman's language, in which foods can we
get the omega-3 from? Okay. Before I give you the sources of omega-3, most of the products we have in the market have a lot of omega-6, which actually promotes inflammation. So some of the good sources of omega-3 include the seafoods like salmon, sardines. Sardines is actually omena. Most people don't know omena is actually very good in terms of omega-3. We can also get omega-3 from the different seeds that we have, the likes of the chia seeds, the flax seeds, the sunflower seeds, etc. We also try to make sure that they get other nutrients like vitamin C, which is very important. In fact, vitamin C acts like an antioxidant.
Vitamin C, we get it in orange.
From certain, especially the citrus fruits. We get vitamin C from the citrus fruits, like the oranges, the passion fruits, lemons, etc. But the challenge is at times most people are not able to take these fruits because of conditions like acidity or acid reflux. And that's why, to me, when they come to see me, the first thing I need to do is to address their digestion. Because I keep on telling people that knowing what to do and doing it are two separate things. Yeah, so someone might actually know that they need vitamin C, but because of those conditions, they're not able to take those fruits. They also need nutrients like vitamin A, very important. Studies have shown that vitamin A actually plays a key role when it comes to our immune function. And some of the food sources of vitamin A, for example, include the sweet potatoes. They're actually very good. They can be taken as part of our breakfast instead of taking wheat products on daily basis that actually increase the risk of obesity. You can also get vitamin A from the pumpkin seeds, the carrots.
I hope
etc.
people are taking notes.
Yeah.
You should have prepared us to come with notebooks.
Yeah, but those are some of the nutrients that we actually try to measure that the patients get, because they're very important, especially when it comes to management of most of these conditions. But apart from their diet, of course, we also address exercise. And when you talk about exercise, the key word is consistency. It has to be consistent, and it's supposed to be moderate. You know what most people don't know is exercise, like any medication. It's supposed to be taken in a given dosage.
Too much of it is,
yes.
is
If you
dangerous.
don't consider the aspect of dosage, of course, you might actually get it wrong. And that's why people need advice in terms of which form of exercise. For example, studies have shown that walking, brisk walking, is actually the most sustainable and the most effective form of exercise that can assist us. Now, WHO recommends at least 150 minutes of exercise per week. That translates to around 2.5 hours.
Per week?
Per week.
Per week, so okay.
Yeah,
if you were
that's like 30 minutes
30
per day,
minutes.
5 days per week. Yeah.
Oh,
So
nice.
exercise is also very, very important.
Of
As part of the management.
not average exercise, not
Yes, moderate. As I said, it's supposed to be moderate exercise.
Sorry, yeah.
But how do you know that what you are doing is moderate or not? There's a test we call talk test. So when you exercise, you should actually not get to a point whereby you cannot speak what somebody else can hear. It means you've gone beyond the threshold. So, but we're able to guide the patients so that by the end of the day, they are doing the right thing the right way. We've seen people do the right things the wrong way, and by the end of the day, you don't get the desired outcome.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell,
Yeah.
what you're trying to tell us is for people who are trying to manage cancer, or breast cancer for that matter, besides seeing their oncologist, they also need to take the time to see you people, to see the nutritionist.
Yes.
And also to see, what do we call someone who, a fitness specialist also.
Yes. They also need to see an expert in terms of exercise.
Exercises.
Yeah, that is if they need special forms of exercise. But as I told you, in case they're not able to do that, they can always engage in walking. I mean, you don't need any special skills for you to know how to walk. It can be done anywhere, and that's why walking still remains the best form of exercise for everybody. Unfortunately, most people don't know that. We still need to, get.
Yes, you're preaching to
extra.
the choir.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
Well, before we, because you're a nutritionist expert, not just for cancer, before we come back to you, to probably point out some of the habits that we need to adapt as people, as Kenyans, as women, as men. I would like Eva to tell us some of the lessons that you have learned throughout this diagnosis period about life, about friendship, about family. Yeah, what is it? What was some of the biggest takeouts that you took out from this experience of survival? And we're a very strong woman, by the way. Yeah.
The biggest lesson that I learned is that I think love bears it all, love conquers all. I received a lot of love starting from my family, my friends, and even just I'll go into social media later, and my partner, who was very, very supportive. We were in a relatively new relationship, but he stood by me through it all. All the hospital appointments, he was there. All chemos, he was there. So support is important. And most important is you can only be supported and you can only be helped if you speak. So if I did not speak out and say that I was going through this, then people would have just assumed everything is going on well and I handle it on my own, and the weight of it would have been too much. But because I had all this huge support and love, it kept me going, and that even gave me the resolve to fight even more, because you're like, I have to fight for all these people who love me. and this life is too sweet to be left. I have to continue living. So love and support is important, and to speak. Why I say speak is because when I got diagnosed, I went, I went to social media and whatnot, just looking for people who are talking, but I couldn't find, people who are talking, especially locally, and I ended up joining foreign breast cancer support groups, specifically for triple negative breast cancer, which is what I have.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that there were types until then. So these groups I got so much love and information from these ladies.
The support group.
Yes, and somebody would post in the group and say, I'm feeling this way. So, and you'd find like 30 other people who have felt the same thing. My knees are paining. 30 people, 40 people, yeah, even me, my knees were paining, and I told my doctor, and this is what I was given, just go and talk to your doctor. And because of that, first, what I got from that is that I got standard treatment. If I was treated in the US, if I was treated in India, nothing would have been different, because these are women who are in developed countries with advanced medicine who are getting the same sort of treatment I was getting, in terms of the drugs and everything. So I was happy, and I was comfortable, and I was confident that I was managed well here, because there are people who asked me, why don't you go to India for treatment? I said, no, let me just be treated here home. So interaction, that interaction gave me the comfort that I was getting the best care, and I was able to socialize and get comfort from people who are going through the same sort of things. Those are the groups where you'd post, I'm going for my chemo number 3 tomorrow, and you come, oh, wish you the best, oh, love, and whatnot, oh, I can't sleep, I'm having hot flashes. People come, okay, do this, get a fan, all those sorts of things. So the support is important. It's important.
Very, very, very well said. If someone who is probably has just received their cancer diagnosis at this moment, or maybe a couple of days ago, bumped onto our show today and they're listening to you, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to it's cliche, be strong, but you don't have a choice. You have to be strong. But just take heart, and wake up every morning with the desire to live and to fight. The most important thing is to fight, and to thrive amidst the fighting. I'm just not fighting and giving up. I'm fighting and I'm thriving, and you get out of it victorious.
Fighting and thriving.
Yes.
That is a really nice point. Now, when it comes to how people treat or relate with people who have cancer, did you face any form of discrimination, or have you heard from, say, people who come from the support groups that you are part of, where they feel like they have been treated unfairly? And having lived through that journey, what would be your best recommendation?
Yes, I have interacted with some ladies who the relationships sort of get strained, because one thing that happens, especially during chemo, is I don't know if I can call them mood swings.
Okay.
Yeah, because there are times when even I would snap at people in the house, and you see, if you maybe your spouse or your family don't understand what you're going through, it will strain your relationships. And there are people whose partners have even left them after a cancer diagnosis. They say, nobody visits me anymore. I'm just on my own. I have no one to drive me or to take me to the clinic appointments. So it's lonely. I must say it's lonely, because sometimes you're all around healthy people who are bubbling, going on about their lives, and inside here, I am in my own sort of dark hole, thinking about how I might die. So it's lonely, and it just helps to keep yourself busy. If it's work, if it's talking to people, and yeah. So what I have done is I put my story out there on social media, and because of that, there are a couple of people who have reached out to me. Wow. I have a friend who was recently diagnosed, and you know your story, you have so much courage. So I have I talk to them, and you know they would call me sometimes and tell me I'm feeling this, and I tell them I also felt that, and this is what I did. And if it's something that I tell them, you need to mention this to your doctor. This one we cannot talk as co-thrivers. Yeah. This one has to be addressed by your doctor. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, they say sharing is caring.
Absolutely.
The problem half talked about is half solved. Good one.
And you know, just knowing that what I'm going through is not abnormal.
Yeah.
It's like all the other 200 people who have had this sort of treatment have felt the same way. So, no, but that doesn't replace mentioning it to the doctor, of course. Yeah. So because I would say I have mouth sores, then they're like, oh yeah, I had mouth sores and I was given this mouthwash. So when I go to the doctor, I'm like, yeah, I had mouth sores. It's like, okay, we'll give you magic mouthwash. I'm like, oh, okay,
it's
good.
A confirmation of the information you already know.
Exactly,
Well
yeah.
Done. Well done, Eva. Now, as we wind up, I'm told time is running out. Kefa, I know. Like we had mentioned, you know, most of these diseases are actually associated with our lifestyle. Even cancer included, we have other lifestyle diseases, we have diabetes, we have hypertension, we have arthritis, we can name it. What do you think that we are not doing okay as humans in order to take care of our body? Are we really taking care of this one life, one body that we are given, Kefa, in terms of our lifestyle?
Now, before I answer that, let me say that, you know, what most people don't understand is the fact that, you know, the body, our body is actually wonderful in the sense that it's actually able to fight disease on our behalf. Oh. But for that to happen, we must do our part. Okay. Of course, it needs all the essential nutrients, and nutrients actually work as a team. But unfortunately, we don't provide these nutrients. Most people have adopted a westernized lifestyle, whereby we are consuming a lot of processed foods that are full of chemicals. And to make it worse, of course, we don't exercise at all. We are so much stressed. We don't get enough rest. And because of that, you know, the door is open and lifestyle diseases actually come in anytime. So what are we supposed to do then? Number one, we need to make sure that we change our lifestyle in terms of what you're eating. We need to cut down our intake of, you know, processed foods, especially the foods that have a lot of sugar, salt, and saturated fats.
Which ones? Yeah. The specific ones?
Examples of the sugary foods, for example, include cakes. Cakes have actually a type of sugar we call icing sugar. I know during birthdays we can take cake, but of course that should be occasionally. We also have what you call high fructose corn syrup. We get that from the soft drinks. It's actually the worst form of sugar. And that is why we discourage people from, you know, taking too much of, you know, or taking, you know, those soft drinks. We also have processed sugar that we add in our tea. And most people take a lot of sugar, especially in the tea. You can imagine if somebody is taking up to 10 cups of tea per day, you're adding 40 teaspoons of sugar per cup. So by the end of the day, you are taking almost 40 teaspoons of sugar. By the end of the year, almost a full sack of sugar. We also need to make sure that we cut down the foods that are rich in terms of sodium. Examples include the processed meats, like the sausages, the samosas. And you'll be surprised that one sausage can actually give you the amount of salt you need for up to 3 to 4 days. You know, one sausage. We still meet people who take up to 4 or 5 sausages, especially when food is given for free. It's surprising. We also need to make sure that we cut down our intake of saturated fats. Examples of foods that are rich in terms of saturated fats include the red meat. There are people who cannot take food without beef, almost on daily basis. Some of them have digestive disorders, but they're still taking beef on daily basis. In fact, I'd be surprised if such people improve, because it's all about working on the root cause. French fries, the people take French fries
is
almost,
chips.
It's chips. And the worst part is the way we combine our foods. At times we are taking all the wrong foods at the same time. Yeah, and you know, imagine you're taking sausage, chips, soda, you know, and deep fried chicken. Think of that combination. It's like petrol and fire. So we can see why we are getting lifestyle diseases. And what we simply need to do is to, you know, change our lifestyle. So, but apart from that, of course, as I said, exercise is also very, very important. Manage your stress. We have professionals who can assist us to manage the stress. Get rest, etc. And of course, by doing that, we'll be empowering our body to be able to fight disease on our behalf.
So some of these diseases can actually be managed by just making a small alteration in our lifestyle. Yes.
And all you just need to do is to make very simple changes. That will assist you, of course, to manage your weight and control these conditions. I've seen, you know, a number of people, going for very funny weight loss programs in the market nowadays, but shortcuts actually not recommended. What you need is a very good program that ensures that you are taking all your meals, not skipping the meals, as most people do. Because the focus is always on the quantity of the food instead of the quality of the food. So I think people need the right information. Because it's surprising that we have a lot of information, but on a yearly basis we are told, lifestyle diseases are increasing, obesity is increasing. It means there's something that needs to be addressed.
That needs to be done. The right information, we get it from the professionals.
Yes, not the internet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good place to end. Now, this has been Her Standards. I'm joined by Kefa here, who is a nutritionist, and Eva, who is actually a breast cancer survivor. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this special episode where we are actually creating awareness of breast cancer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. You have any final thing to say as we wind up?
We must check our breasts, and it is recommended for the ladies to check every month, preferably at the same time, because if you check them regularly, then you'll know how normal is. Then the one day where there'll be even a pea-sized lump in it, you'll be able to, you'll catch it quickly and get intervention as early as possible. So early detection gives early diagnosis, a better prognosis, and definitely your life will be saved. So yeah, let's just test, check, and catch it early before it spreads and now becomes something else.
Wow. Well, there you have it. That is Eva, a breast cancer survivor, and of course one of the people we hosted today on Her Standards. We are talking about breast cancer and the fact that it doesn't have to be a death sentence. So today's episode, it is all about lifestyle and nutrition. Talk to us, tell us about your own experiences. What are you struggling with in terms of your lifestyle change or your nutrition? We are available at KTN Home across all platforms. I'm also available as Quinton Boru. You can hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter. Special shout out goes out to our gracious host. We are at the Azure Airport at the Signature Airport Hotel at the Signature Mall. Now remember, at the start of the show, we met Chef Jennifer, who was preparing a healthy, balanced food as we mark this month of breast cancer. Now, we just want to take a shift. We want to move to the kitchen area so that we can get to see the final product. And of course, with the help of a nutritionist here, we'll be able to count the calories and know what is recommended for our bodies. All right then, I think it's about time that we engage our taste buds, and I'm going to ask Eva and Kefa to join me in the kitchen area. Oh my God, Jennifer, this looks amazing. Wow. Jennifer, this looks amazing. Please come close. Chef, no, sorry, Kefa, is this approved? When
Yes.
You look, Does it look good?
Good.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. KTN home and her standards?
To help eating.
Okay.
To surviving breast cancer and thriving.
Thank you. And to the chef of the day. Wow.
It's healthy.
Yeah. Well, this is her standards, and we want to send a special shout out to Azure for hosting us and, of course, giving us this sumptuous and healthy meal. From us here at KTN, it's bye. We have food to eat.
This is Ajay here, and I'm the General Manager of Azure Airport Hotel and Convention Center. We are situated on Mombasa Road. It's a very new brand hotel. We have just started this hotel a year back, and it's basically inside the Signature Mall. The 4th floor and the 5th floor of that Signature Mall is the hotel. We have 65 rooms, and I think it's one of the biggest convention center in the city. We can accommodate more than 5,000 people at a time in our convention center, and we are really looking forward to have to place this hotel as an exhibition center and a seminar center in the city. We are going to really attract a lot of international exhibitions, seminars, conventions, and that is how we are trying to place our hotel in the city, in the market. And we have a couple of restaurants in the hotel. We are having a multi-cuisine restaurant. We have one Indian restaurant also, and we are also very soon planning to open a Chinese restaurant in the hotel. So we are going to cater all the segments of the market. So I would like to put across a request to all the people, those who have not seen the hotel so far. Azure brand is famous for the food, and we are making all the cuisines, and we are serving all the cuisines from every part of the world. So please, most welcome. I would like to invite everybody here and come and see our services, experience our services, and share your feedback with us.